I also oversee the Western Pacific Tropical Research Center. You can see there the link to our webpage in case you want to go there and look at what we do. So one is part of Micronesia. Micronesia is one of the US territories. It's only 520 square kilometers. And part of the mandate of the university is to work with other institutions in Micronesia. For instance, Northern Mariana Islands, which is another territory, actually technically it's a Commonwealth. And then independent nations like Palau, the Federated State of Micronesia, Marshall Islands, and Kiribati. These other places have two-year community colleges. So people can start their education there and then can transfer to University of Guam to finish their tertiary education. So WPTRC is a research arm of the college. Our scientists work on topics that are key to improve the environment and the well-being of people through the region. We receive capacity funds by the Hatch, multi-state Hatch, and McIntyre Stennis program. McIntyre Stennis for forestry. The other two are for agriculture in its broadest sense, and also from other organizations. So the center has 7 thematic areas. Some have been around for a long time from its inception, like plant health. One is a paradise for all kinds of pests. It's tropical, temperature during the day is 90, 91 degrees, and night 76, 78. There is almost no change in day length through the year, very humid. And some are new, and I'm going to talk about this one, which is spatial sciences. So we are in a build-up phase, and this is why I'm glad being here learning from experts like you. We have this program, the Pacific Island Climate Adaptation Science Center. It's a partnership between the U.S. Geological Service, University of Hawaii, and University of Guam. We were really fortunate to have Dr. Romina King moving from another college to our college. I was accused of stealing her, but it's not true. She came on her own. And she's the major force behind this program. And some work they did, which was very relevant, is on mapping Guam reefs. So people of the University of Hawaii was part of a group of 17 programmers or experts that developed this application called this was funded by NASA, called the NEMO Net, where people, this is focused to or targeted to a citizen-driven science. People can paint 3D and 2D images of coral, and then this goes to supercomputer of NASA called Pleiades to do all the classification and so forth. So there's some more information about the NEMONet, and you can check the website for more information, and you can download the application for free. It uses this fluid lensing technology created by Dr. Chirayat, who, by the way, was doing field work in Guam a few months ago. And they said that it was downloaded in many countries and used many times to produce many detailed coral reef classification. You know, coral reefs are highly threatened in the world, and it's also the case in Hawaii. Also, University of Guam became recently a space grant university. I think you probably know the grant universities. At some point, Oregon State claimed to be the only land, space, and sun grant, and at least somebody else is, yeah. Well, we are a space and land grant. And as part of that, this program was developed, is called the Drone Corps. And then I'll show you a very brief presentation about what these people do. So what they do is they have a drone pilot school, which is federally certified, and that have a lot of attention. And the second cohort of pilots graduated recently. Drones are being used mostly on natural resources, for instance, to study mangroves and coral reefs, as I mentioned. Here is a graduate student working in the field. And the university was awarded a grant for research not only in coral reef, but on aquifer. The northern part of Guam is comprised limestone soils, rocky, shallow, relatively high pH, and high permeability. This is why there are no rivers in northern Guam, but the main aquifer that's used for water for people is there. And the south is volcanic, deep, highly acidic, infertile soils. So now we are moving into using spatial science in agriculture. This is an example from one of our experiment stations. We have 3 experiment stations and 1 hatchery, which is the one aquaculture technical and development center. So this is a map of our Ego station, which is 46 acres. It's the most developed of all the stations. And to the right is the GIS mapping. We have been mapping the station, and the main features are there: fruit trees, experiments, buildings, and so forth. One limitation we have in Guam is that the soil maps are very general. So they were developed by NRCS in the 80s, and for instance, for a soil series that's large, comprises a large area, if you go to the book, only 2 profiles were analyzed. So the information for this soil series is just based on 2 profiles. And this is why we think spatial science can help to refine soil and vegetation maps and so forth. Okay, so our intent is to increase expertise and develop a workforce in spatial science technologies, analysis, and applications, build more capacity, for instance, specific labs for the spatial science, state-of-the-art software, and so forth. Incorporate the team in our curricula. There are GIS and remote sensing classes at the university, but in our college, there is none. And I have proposed to have classes in GIS applications in agriculture and so forth. Actually, there is no in our college, in another college, and I'm not going to steal this person, but he's an expert in precision agriculture. He's originally from the Philippines. He came from Brunei, and he has a track record of publication and work on precision agriculture. And of course, foster collaboration worldwide, and we'll be very happy if we can collaborate. You can help us to move forward these ideas. Okay, and was done mainly for instructional purpose, so probably you know that will work with that. Oh yes, oh, partially. So this is a talk briefly about drones. Something that I know all of you know, the cycle of acquiring data, accessing the data, and then helping making decisions, and then take action in the field. And drones can be used for many purposes, like crop surveying, soil analysis, as I mentioned before, that we need better soil maps, irrigation needs. We have a project, it's a joint project with University of Hawaii, is called Smart Agriculture. It's taking thermal infrared image of grounds of crops, like hot red pepper is very common in Guam, and estimate the degree of stress of the plant and base irrigation on that, so not to waste water. And of course, in weed control and pest control, drones can have a good role. So this is a mosaic of the Chigo experiment farm. Again, I know you know about what an orthomosaic is. And this is the northern part of the farm when there are experiments, which is what Dr. Bullock mentioned, the traditional small plot replicated experiment. This is an experiment with corn that had been carried out for several years with application of biochar, manure, and fertilizer. And the scientist conducting that is convinced that biochar is beneficial for corn yield. But to me, the data don't prove that. It's a lot of variability even in small plots and so forth. These are other fields being prepared for studies of similar studies. Sometimes here we have sweet potato, eggplant, and so forth. And this part is a subunit of our experimentation called the Triton Farm, which is 5 acres and is an integrated farm for educational training and research purposes. We have 900 hens that produce the freshest eggs you can find in Guam. This is one of the chicken houses. There are some more here. This is an aquaponic system with tilapia and green vegetables grown in aquaponics, lettuce, basil, mint. This used to be a calamansi orchard. Who knows what's calamansi? Calamansi is a citrus, produces small citrus, very tasty, very juicy, very popular in the Philippines and also in Hawaii. But as many citrus in Hawaii, it suffers a lot from pests. And it's not greening. We don't know exactly what it is, but it's not greening like in Florida. It's devastating the citrus orchard. So the manager decided to plant bananas to replace the calamansi. And this is, I think that's the last slide. No, it's not the last slide, but one of the last. This is a banana farm in the southern part of the island. This is where I mentioned we are moving into agriculture. You can see the banana plants intersect with other plants. And this resembles a little bit what in Micronesia is called a home garden. Somebody was in Costa Rica as a Peace Corps volunteer and know that it existed, and unfortunately it has been abandoned in general. Was growing many different plants around the house to provide fruit, fiber, dyeing, all kind of product. Very resilient, very interesting system. So this is common in farms in Guam, not having a monoculture of something. This is the southern part of the island. The Humatag Bay is a beautiful place. It's where Magellan landed the first time in Guam. So Amanda have already explained how the different bands are used to monitor vegetation. Also, she explained the normalized differential vegetation index. So we are using these to map vegetation. Again, the vegetation maps are very general. In Hawaii, in Guam, most of the vegetation is composed of exotic species, introduced species, and many are weeds, are very aggressive, invasive species. And this is our largest and least developed station. Is in the southern part of the island. It comprises 65 acres. And it doesn't even have electricity. But some experiments are done there. There are fruit collection. We have 29 varieties of mango, for instance, so forth. So we are upgrading this station. It would be, I think, a great resource, especially to help farmers in southern Guam. Well, thank you for your attention and for the presentations. And a question I have is, it makes sense to go into on-farm precision experimentation in a place like Guam where farms are usually 4 or 5 acres. The larger farm I know is 60 acres, and only 20 acres are farmed. But on average, I'll say 5 acres is about typical. There is a whole issue about land tenure and ownership in Guam, and this is not going to change. Nobody can acquire a lot of land and go into agriculture. So that's a question I'll bring back to Guam. So again, you know some of the benefits of drones. In Guam, 1/3 of the land is owned by the military. So there are some issues about access to flying. Flying is not allowed. Therefore, we'll destroy it immediately. And these are the drone corps, very energetic, capable, and have been great for the university. As you know, we are in a foundational stage, but we are committed to move forward, have more flight missions. This is some of the applications. As I say, coral mapping, agriculture, search and rescue, and so forth. And this is the website of the drone corps. You want to know more. And these are the two ladies in charge of the program. Dr. Leslie Aquino is a professor in our college, but is not part of WPTRC. And Dr. Romina King is part of the college and also part of WPTRC. And how you say, wear several hats. In addition, she has 5 children, so I don't know how she does, but she's incredible. Anyway, okay, well, thank you for your attention.